Hi everyone. So I have a new product for you to take part in. This one is called Zelda merch. Zelda, like the video game. So it's a little bit about Zelda merch. So they are the first store that is dedicated to the Legend of Zelda merch, and it stands out. At Zelda Merchandise, they specialize in delivering one-of-a-kind, high-quality Legend of Zelda merchandise that you won't find anywhere else. So whether you're a devoted fan of Zelda, or you collect unique items, or you're just searching for the perfect gift for someone, I could think of someone myself who I could gift this for. Their exclusive products are designed to celebrate your love for the series. So they pride themselves in offering a diverse range of premium items. So you can get stylish apparel or stunning accessories to captivating home decor and collectibles. So what sets them apart is their dedication to bringing you rare and distinctive creations inspired by the iconic world of Zelda. So from exclusive designs featuring your favorite characters and symbols to custom crafted treasures, you won't find this anywhere else. Everything in their store is made to amaze. So these are different things that you can find. If you're interested, you can get exclusive designs inspired by Zelda's legendary world, premium craftsmanship at the best prices, unique creative products that elevate your fandom. So they have weekly bestsellers. They have different rings that you can partake in. They also have Bluetooth controllers or Joy-Con chargers, Nintendo Switch carry cases, Zelda games, of course, and they have Switch card holders, different controllers that are obviously Zelda inspired, or you can go for the more merchandise type stuff. They have wallets, music boxes, phone cases, mouse pads, keycaps, purses, plushies, watches, mugs. I think I know what I'm going to be doing. I think I know what I'm going to be getting. A special person in my life who loves Zelda. They have mugs, alarm clocks, backpacks. They also have different jewelries, necklaces, keychains, earrings. I mentioned the rings already, or even just other fun stuff like puzzles, paintings, rugs, blankets, even bedding. They also have stickers if you want to go that route, or wall art, posters. You can also get things for someone's birthday, birthday themed Zelda, figures, lamps, Lego. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So if you want to partake in that as well as support the podcast, you can go to zelda-merchandise.com/reality2. So that again is zelda-merchandise.com/reality2 to partake in that. There is also a coupon code that will also be reality2 that you can also use at checkout as well to support not only Zelda merchandise, but as well as the podcast. Patreon going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there, so you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first two tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man of a Thousand Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/reality times 2 and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it, even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/reality times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. This episode is ad-free on the Patreon. So if you want to partake in that, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality times 2. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be just kind of doing like a very, very quick roundup episode about Married at First Sight, this brand new way of doing things that they have. And obviously, like I've mentioned, I've only been able to watch an episode a week because it's on Slice here in Canada. Not sure if there's an equivalent in the States. But yeah, so I've been watching it that way, and I have gotten to Decision Day, all of Decision Day. So let's just I'm just gonna kind of talk about each of the couples, kind of talk about what their decision is and kind of what I think about things. That's kind of how I'll go about it. I do want to say here on the top of the episode, though, that I'm not sure how this new format has been received. I personally enjoyed it, um, but it does appear that there are some major changes with Married at First Sight going forward, and that's being with the experts, Dr. Pepper, Pastor Cal, and Dr. Pia are not going to be a part of the show any longer. I find I'm not necessarily surprised by Dr. Pepper or even Pastor Gal. Um, they've been with the show from the very, very beginning. I mean, Dr. Pepper's barely in it anymore. like when it wasn't until Decision Day, then I'm like, oh yeah. Um, and then with Dr. P, I mean, she's so new, but she does have things going on. She just became a mom, and maybe she needs to take a step back. I'm not sure. But it's gonna be different seeing how that changes things because like I said, Pastor Cal, Dr. Pepper have been a part of this since the beginning, and it's gonna be really weird without them next season, but they'll be missed. But let's get into kind of the couple still. I did kind of say this before that the difference with this season is that they had older couples, which I very much enjoyed seeing that. Whether or not I enjoyed seeing that is going to be different. We'll get to it. But I did enjoy kind of seeing the mix of having the younger couples with the middle-aged couple and the older, the older couple. I thought it was great. But yeah, so kind of go through it. I may not remember everybody's names because they just haven't really stuck in my head this time around, in the same way as maybe other seasons, but we'll kind of go through it. So first, Jalen and what was her husband's name? Um, yeah, so I don't remember her husband's name, but anyways, I I I mean, they're fine. They Her laugh is really annoying though, let me tell you. But they're f th there's not much to really say here. Of course, like, they kind of talked about, like, their differences with him wanting to do Burning Man, and it's like, okay, first of all, my guy, he's, like, in his 30s. There comes a time where Burning Man is not gonna be something you, are capable of doing in the future, you know what I mean? Um And I do understand, like, for him, the whole point of Burning Man for him was this community he's talking about, community, community, community. And the thing for him is like, well, he doesn't consider his friends community. Friends are friends, family is family. And it's like, okay, I think he needs to broaden the meaning of community for him because it's like, okay, your friends can be community, your family's obviously your community. Now I know he doesn't yeah, he didn't have his parents, but he did have his grandparents, and that is something that's more than some people have. And I do understand he deals with abandonment issues because of that. But my guy, there comes a time where Burning Man is just not going to be a reality for you, whether it's because you're too old to handle it, or it's too much strain on the body, or you're married, or you have kids. You can't be taken off for a week to go to freaking Burning Man, you know what I mean? And for him, like him wanting to have that in a partner, that's such a niche thing that I don't think you're going to find a lot of people who are going to be interested in Burning Man, much less attending it, you know? Like, I would not want to go to Burning Man. No, thank you. But I'm not gonna knock people who decide that they wanna do that. But Jalen is such a, I mean, I don't she's kinda like her in a sense where it's like, I don't wanna be in these crowds of people. That's not enjoyable to me. Um, there's not many things that I'm willing to sacrifice that for. Maybe Bruno Mars, I might sacrifice that for that, but you know what I mean? I'm not always willing to sacrifice that need that I just do not want to be around, big crowds. Now, I don't know for Jalen if it's just a sociable thing for her that she's not comfortable in those social settings. For me, it's literally a phobia. I do not want to be in big crowds. There's no fresher hell than that for me. So it's I understand her in that sense, that she doesn't wanna be a part of that. But she was still willing to maybe do something, that's um, a little bit different, a little bit of a downgrade in comparison to Burning Man or slash a music festival. Because I think she kind of was a hard pass on music festivals as well, that maybe are more like a weekend thing versus a week. Um, but yeah, like they needed to kind of figure out this compromise. But I think it's not even so much about compromising. It's more about the fact that like he needed to kind of come to a place where he needed to redefine community for him because he was so hell bent on this being his community, friends, family, wife, you're not a part of that community. That's not community for me. That's my friends, my family, my wife. And it's like you can integrate um both of those things into one so that it's all of your community. But I thought otherwise they were gonna be fine. I love that he bought her a ring. I love that mom and daughter got, like, the better rings. Um, but yeah, they were fine otherwise, and I did think they were probably gonna be okay. Like, I know she kinda was saying, like, maybe you need someone who can be Burning Man for you, and that's not me. But I did think, like, otherwise that they were gonna be fine. And at decision day, yeah, they both said yes, and they're really for different reasons. There's two couples for me that I felt like, okay, I feel good about. Um, so for different, very, very different reasons. But they were one of them from the beginning for me. I'm like, oh, they're good. They're sad. They're gonna get married, or say marriage, say. So yeah, good for them. Great. Let's move on. um, we then have I cannot remember their name. What is their names? I should have brought up the list, but I just didn't want to bring that up because I didn't want to get spoiled. Um, but our 38-year-olds, the ones that got pregnant during this process, that couple. So initially, I thought this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to work. Mom hates this before it has even started. I think she hates him before it's even started. I thought this isn't going to work. And then we kind of see them have these clashes, um, post well, I don't know if they had any clashes during the honeymoon, but definitely post, with them arguing about whether or not she wanted to have kids, and look how that turned out, fighting about the dog, and now he loves the dog, and all of these different little things that they were well, having kids is not little, but these different things that they were fighting about, I'm like, "They're not gonna make it, there's no way in hell." And then to find out that first of all, I thought for sure that the black couple was the couple who was gonna be pregnant. Lo and behold, it's these 2 that ended up being pregnant. So then I thought, like, that's absolutely insane, and never in the history of the show have we had people get pregnant while in the middle of the process. Now, we've had people get pregnant very quickly after the process, but not while in it, you know what I mean? So this was the first, this was unprecedented. So it obviously changed things for them because the chances are they're gonna make this work for now their unborn child, and their stakes are so different than the other couples here, and I thought, like, that was pretty it added a layer of interesting to their storyline, and was I mean, and mom is all about, like, she seemed to really hate him. I don't think she hated him, I think she hated the process. But she seemed like she was gonna give him a really hard time, but she, like, left him in the second meeting. And I'm like, "You gotta hold out just a little more, make this more interesting." But either way, like, I thought for sure they're gonna be fine. They have a baby on the way. Everything's great. And yeah, the decision day happens, and of course they both say yes. So they're like the easy couples. These are the two easy ones for me because I thought I wasn't sure. Obviously, initially, I thought, no, I think the only people who are going to make it is probably Jalen and the guy whose name I can't remember. Josh, I think that's his name. And and then these guys, I'm like, nah, they're not going to make it. But then when she got pregnant, and well, not even so much when she got pregnant, but we saw the shift in their relationship prior to finding that out, and then we found that out. I'm like, oh wow, okay, they're gonna make it. I hope they will for the sake of what they've created here. But anyways, they seem to be fine. I don't even know if there's a reunion. I'm going to assume that there is. We still have a reunion, and Kevin's still here with us, please. I haven't gotten to that point yet. Actually, I haven't finished decision day because we left off with Brittany and Will. So I don't know how that ended yet. So we'll get to that. But anyway, so um, let's move on to the next couple. Moving on to I'm gonna say Brittany and Will to the end just because I don't know how they've turned out yet. Not really. So okay. Um I'm gonna do Jalen's mom and the guy she's with. I can't remember her name right now either. I really like her mom, actually. I think I think she's very level-headed. You can tell this woman's been through a lot with her marriage. I mean, we kind of see her open up a little bit more a little later on in the season about certain triggers that she experiences. And you can tell she's been through quite a bit. You know, she got married young, she had kids young. So you can tell. And I really like her. Now, the man that she is paired with, I got a bad vibe from him from the beginning. And I couldn't quite pinpoint what it is. I don't know if he's just a true Texan and maybe that's maybe I don't know. I don't want to say true Texan. I don't want to sound harsh, but I think it's just like some men from Texas can, especially white men, can be very, how do I say this? Not off-putting, but can just have this air to them. And that's what I was getting from him. This level of, is he maybe disingenuous? I don't know what it is, but I just didn't quite feel him. I didn't like him, and I wasn't sure if I liked him for her. But they seem to have been hitting it off really well. Um, Things seem to have been going great for them throughout. But it seems like the biggest issue for them is his issue with the optics, with not so much the optics, but just like filming. He We saw it in the with the honeymoon where him and her have a conversation, and it's normal. We don't hear it, obviously, but it's normal for producers to bounce things to you. They are making a show and try to help a conversation move along, right? Um, Now I don't see issue with that. Maybe the producer could have let them have the conversation and not interject. Maybe, but there's also a way to handle yourself and handle the conflict than how he handled it in that moment, where he's just kind of like, "Can you just let us have a conversation?" And be so rude about it. It was also his attitude. And to the point where you can kind of hear the producer being like, "I'm sorry." Like, it's it's not necessary. Like, you can see that he's treating these people who are there to make you look good, you know? Um, and he's berating them. And you can tell it makes her uncomfortable. It would make me uncomfortable. Um, because at the end of the day, I do understand that you sign up for a show. You really do not know what you're getting yourself into until you're in it. But you did sign up for this. You're in it. You're getting filmed all the time. Unless you work outside of the home, that may be the only time you're not being recorded. They have secret cameras all over the place. Even if a camera crew is not in there, you're constantly being recorded. So it's ridiculous that he thinks he can dictate filming schedules, have literal breakdowns because of filming and not feeling like he can be himself. And so I get it. You know what I mean? I do. But you are putting a kink in this experience for the both of you, and you're, in my mind, giving her a bad taste in her mouth because of how you are treating her in the moment, how you're treating production in the moment, and just how you're treating this whole experience. It's not fair and it's not nice. And I do have to agree with her, but they try to hash it out, and that conversation that they had just right before decision day. And she's saying to him, "Why is it when you say your thoughts, it's you trying to bring your point across? When I say my thoughts, it's I'm being argumentative." That to me makes me think he has no respect for her thoughts, doesn't care what she thinks. Maybe I could even take it as far as he doesn't respect you as a woman. I don't know, but it does seem interesting that your thoughts and your feelings are argumentative, right? So I didn't I don't like him. I don't like him. I think she deserves so much better than him. Um, and I don't, yeah, I don't like him. And decision day, I mean, she says yes, but it feels reluctant. It feels like she reluctantly says yes. It feels like she's hoping that with the cameras gone, things will be different. That he actually will make an effort, that he'll actually have a bedtime routine with her where they're talking and cuddling and whatever, right? Because that's not what's happening right now. I think she's hoping that that will change and those things will happen for her. I don't think it's gonna change. I think the only thing that's gonna change is that the camera crew's not there. I don't think his way of dealing with arguments are gonna change. I don't think he's going to, change. Because again, things like saying that, I mean, I think he says like he needs to decompress or something, which is fine, but you can decompress with your wife. So it's like those things aren't happening. You're not being filmed when you're sitting there on the TV, watching the TV while your wife's trying to go to bed and kind of wants you there with her. You know what I mean? It's weird. He's weird. I that might be it as weird, but I don't, like I said, I don't like him. I don't like him. And I think it was a bad decision to say yes on decision day for her. I really do. I think I wish she said no. But let's move on to our second last couple, and we're going to the oldest couple. Y'all look in. I don't remember her name and I don't care. I don't remember his name either. I'm sorry. But our oldest couple here. She annoys the hell out of me. She really does. What's her name? It's gonna bug me. But I really don't like her. I I she's not my cup of tea, generally speaking. Um, but I wanted to like her. I did. I really did. And initially I was like, okay. But then as time goes on, I'm like, no. It was pretty quick, for, honestly, because I'm like, no. This is a woman who constantly needs things done her way and doesn't give a shit about what he thinks and what he wants or how he expresses himself. It's all about me, me, me. Now, did I think she was valid when she's kind of talking about her experiences initially and he kind of, made it more about him or didn't acknowledge her in those yes, I did think that was messed up. But he apologized and he seemed to rectify. What more could you ask for? You know what I mean? And she is just, you know, nitpicking about everything. Everything. It's so freaking annoying. Why do you feel like you can't be yourself? Meet my bitch. You do not create a safe space for him to do so. Because when he does open up, you're going to somehow make it about you and how y- it's like hearing her kind of like talk about like different things. And yes, she's been through it. She lost her dad at 19. She's talking about the fact that he's been gone 50 or not 50 years. Sorry, that's wrong. It was 40, 50, no, wait, math. It had been a minute. 40 years, I think, 40 something years. Anyway, she's kind of talking about that. And I understand that's really tough and it's hard and that's heartbreaking. And I'm so sorry for her in that. But it's like she doesn't like the way he says certain things to her about it or doesn't comfort her in the way she wants him to. It's so freaking, he's damned if he doesn't, he's damned if he doesn't. And okay, the whole conversation about the calendars when they're talking about like, oh, let's share. each other's calendars or something like that. And because he didn't agree to do it in the just the way she wanted him to, all of a sudden it's a big fucking thing. And another thing, because I just reminded myself, this woman cusses so damn much. Now, here's the thing, because this is now made for streaming, obviously we hear all the cussing, right? And that's the same thing that happened on the network that's airing the show. For me over here, they didn't bleep anything out or anything. This woman, fuck this and fuck that. It's fuck is her favorite word. It's insanity. It's a lot. Calm your tits. You know what I mean? But I just don't like the way she treats him and berates him, talks down to him. And I think he deserves so much better. And then when they were talking to his friend and his friend's like, oh yeah, he could be like that. You need to do better. No, sir. Maybe he does, but this woman is never going to be happy. She's never going to be satisfied. Never. I hate to go here as a woman myself. There's a reason she's single. And the reason being, no man wants to put up with not even so much man, no person wants to be dealing with another person who is going to talk to them the way that she does, talk down to them the way that she does, and is never satisfied with someone's response. It's like she's literally telling him how to respond to things. And it's ridiculous. I cannot stand her. She's on my screen and I want to pull my hair out. She doesn't get it. She's never going to get it. You know what I mean? And when they go into decision day and she could clearly tell us by his body language, and damn, she's good. But you could tell by his body language that he does not want to say yes. And he says, no, I don't, because of the fact that, like, we do not seem to be in sync. We do not seem to be each other's people. We do not seem to get along. In a sense, like, he's probably thinking, this woman doesn't like me because she's constantly criticizing things about me. I'm not good enough for her. It's he's constantly being beat down by her, and that is on her. And the thing that pisses me off in some of these decision day situations is like, I know you guys are being sent these things to see how they interact with each other. Okay. What was interesting about the people who got pregnant, they didn't even know she was pregnant. Now, maybe that's production being like, we're going to respect their privacy and not say this right now. We'll let them do it. But otherwise, they get fed everything. Not one time did anyone in this situation say, hey, you are, what's your name? You need to understand that you are constantly berating him for not, you know, being, I guess, what you think he should be, responding in the ways that you think he should. That is not something that someone can respond to. You're not going to respond to the negativity. You respond to positivity or constructive feedback. And I never thought anything she said to him, at least past the initial things when they were still at the honeymoon, was ever at all constructive. It was all about what he's doing wrong and nothing about what she was doing wrong. Can't stand her. And I am upset that he changed his answer and said yes. And I'm upset mainly because this woman isn't going to change. She doesn't need a husband. She needs a therapist, a real one. I'm not saying that these experts aren't real, but she needs a therapist. She needs to be able to know where her problems lie and the reasons why she is single. Because nothing's going to change anyways. Let's move on to the final couple here, and they're the only ones that I remember their names, Brittany and Will. Um, hmm, I okay, for both of different reasons, they both kind of annoy me. I always thought his demeanor, his personality, the way he presents himself, he seems very, I don't know if aloof is the right word, of like, or standoffish, or not a lot of personality going on there, to be totally honest with you. My initial thing of her was fine, but as time went on, I'm just like, okay, girl, you're a little annoying as well. Um, but that's the thing, like they're from the honeymoon. They've been having nothing but weird stuff, like how he didn't want to have sex with her anymore because they didn't use protection the first time. And it's like, well, that's an easy fix. You know what I mean? It's an easy fix. And her also just not expressing how that made her feel. She felt rejected. She feels like he doesn't want her. And maybe he's not attracted to her. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. He could respond to that and we're done. We're good to go. You know what I mean? And he could have explained, yo, that kind of just freaked me out. I don't think we should be having sex unprotected just in case, and then there's children because apparently that can happen in this process. So I think it's valid. Mind you, why'd you sleep with her without protection at all? You know what I mean? But anyways, that's the point. And yeah, it's just it's it was just weird and rocky from the beginning with them. But I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the personalities here instead of talking about things that have happened because a lot has happened with them. For him, it's kind of like he doesn't express himself very clearly. You really don't know if there's anything wrong, um, because he kind of just goes based off this philosophy of don't say nothing that, it's mean, you know? You kind of, like what we learn as kids, if it's not nice, don't say it, right? That's kind of how he clearly moves through life, moves through relationships. That's not always feasible. It's not about hurting the other partner. Yeah, it's not always fun to hear, but um, sometimes you need to do that so that you can take that information and try to make it better. So I hear her on that. But on the other hand, she, oh my God, she can't take what he does say to her and find the positive in it. Instead, she turns it to a negative, saying things like, oh, well, you didn't say you left me in the right way, kind of thing. Or, um, you say that these are X, but what about Y and Z? She has to kind of twist it on him, which makes him uncomfortable. I think one of the things that they kind of went back and forth with was for her, she wanted to hear him say something that he didn't like about her. And she kept pushing and pushing and pushing for him to say something that he doesn't like, so that when he does finally say the thing that he doesn't like, she gets mad about it. See, you've proven this point that you've not created a safe space for him to say something negative without you getting mad at him about it. And this was all during the retreat. The retreat was a hot mess. You would think they would just throw the towel in at that point, to be totally honest with you. She's crying. He's confused. Wasn't great. So it's just, they just were not in sync. Personally, it kind of felt like maybe not so much that he just wasn't into her. It was more of like he's fed up of this because this is constant, a constant validation that he needs to give her. And that can be exhausting. But then they have this moment right afterwards where they're getting along, the cuddling, the kissing. He's being sweet with her and all of this. Like everything's great, right? Well, fairly decision day, he ends up beeping her and being like, So I'm gonna say no on decision day. What? Which clearly just throws me off. And she was like, I'm not gonna go. But then she's like, no, I'm gonna go. Because I want him to hear from me how this makes me feel. And that's exactly what happens. And you know what I have to say? She did hold her own. And when she's in this moment, though, is saying how much she appreciated it and how much that, you know, she does care for him. And sometimes I get that I sabotage basically and all of this. And she's just being very heartfelt with him to the point where he's crying and getting emotional. And what seems potentially is there a chance? Because he's really saying, I do care for her. I do love her. But it's the constant what I say not being received. And that's, I would agree with him on that. I don't know if anyone would want to deal with that. Um, like I said, we kind of left off with him kind of being like, I just need to process. So yeah, that's where I left off. He walked off and he's going to go process. That's the last episode that I saw. I think the next episode is coming as I record this, coming tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be watching it then before I release this episode. But yeah, I mean, I hope. I don't know what I hope. You know what I mean? Um, I did see a glimpse of what marriage life could look like for them if they are both kind of giving each other what they need. So maybe there's a chance in hell that they could work. Um, I'm not concerned about them if they do stay together, if they don't. I'm not concerned about them. Like I've said, I'm more concerned about the older couple, not so much her, him. Um, and honestly, the older couples are the ones I'm more concerned about, and I'm more concerned about him for they're the oldest couple, and I'm more concerned about her, Jalen's mom, in that partnership. So, anyways, but that's basically it. If there is a reunion and there's anything interesting, I will do another episode once I get to it. Um, and if not, then this is it for this season, I guess. It's a little thought process on it. But yeah, that's basically it. You can stay tuned for another roundup episode that I'll be doing for the other way. I think I have decided that I might do the reunion episodes because it was juicy. Oh, it was juicy. We'll see though. Um, but anyways, that is it for me. That is it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for this, for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can like, follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at Reality T times 2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Reality times 2 pod. I believe you can email me at realityt times 2 at hotmail.com, and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to /reality t times 2. there you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you can tip whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality tea times two, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get another reality show that's being covered. So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro, but the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed. I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, we do things a little differently, you can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.